Is it time for Asmongold to stop sucking Trump's dick? I mean, I've been very critical of Trump regularly. If you look at any of my commentary discussing things that he's done, you'll...
Yeah, no, it's base. Yeah, base. Yeah, base. Wouldn't necessarily say that that's critical. Maybe critical levels of dick riding.
Guys, so this is a shocker. This is a shocker. I'm sure you guys remember. I had done a couple videos. I don't remember how many, maybe 2 or 3 videos, something like that, on Asmongold. Every now and then he'll say something that's just blows my mind, and I'm forced to respond. Like when he said that casually genocidal shit about Palestinians. That's one example. I forget what the last one was, but I did a segment on it. Apparently he responded. Now, thankful for my mental health here, I don't actually watch people when they fucking decide to come after me. My theory is very simple, like, live and let live. Y'all want it? Hey, I have every right to attack you guys. You have every right to attack me back, by all means. Now,
love that. Great principles to stand on.
I do happen to know, because friends of mine covered it, that he's bigger than me. It's that simple. His show is maybe twice the size of mine. He's a giant streamer. He's certainly more popular than I am. So without a doubt, I grabbed a stick and I hit a fucking hornet's nest. And so I was told that he responded to my video, and then my original video got fucking brigaded going after him. This is the first thing I've seen of him since then.
The King of Dark World, Kyle. Yeah, he goes maybe a little too dark at times. Let's be real. Make no mistake. He is the absolute goat at posting the most boomer memes. But because he posts boomer memes all the fucking time, there are definitely some instances where, he's maybe going a little above and beyond. Okay, let's be real. Like there was some of the stuff that I saw that he was posting about, like the what do you call it? The fucking, all of the white supremacists on Twitter are actually Indian. All of those memes were, maybe a little heavy-handed. Now, I know Kyle. I've known Kyle for years. I do not think he is... people will say, oh, dude, he was, mocking Indians in those memes. I don't think he's, thinking too much about it. So it's more so like a blind spot. I don't think he is a racist person at all. I would go so far as to say he's anti-racist in general. And but, you can still have your moments, especially when you're a quirked up white boy. I mean, he's got the Eminem hair, Come on. I will always respect Kyle, though, because out of all of the people that what do you call it? Out of all the atheists, because he was one of them. I mean, his channel is literally called Secular Talk. When every single atheist was pivoting to anti-Obama, Islamophobia, maximum Islamophobia, Kyle Kulinski stayed true to his principles. Okay? 100%. And many of you are too young to know this. You don't remember that media environment. You did not grow up in that media environment, or maybe you were actually, right-wing in that media environment potentially, and you didn't pay too close attention to Kyle. But I grew up in that media environment. Let me tell you, okay? If you had an anti-imperialist slant in any way, shape, or form in that media landscape, okay, when there were no alternatives, it was just the Young Turks and then everyone else that was just trying to fucking knife you in the neck, okay? That, especially as a person who came from the background of because Kyle came from that background of secular, anti-theist, edgy atheist background, he was virtually the only person that was out there being like, nah, this stuff is crazy. I think we need to be anti-war.
And it looks like he may already be having a change of heart and a change of mind. He may already...
Sam Cedar and Amy Goodman erasure? Yeah, no one is fucking calling into question Sam Cedar or Amy Goodman's track record chatters. That's the reason why I don't feel the need to even bring that up. Kyle shared an anti-Indian meme. What the fuck are you promoting him for? The Chinese are Israel coded. They think anything against the CCP is against the Chinese people. Look at what they're doing. The Japanese media. China banned Japanese anime cosplay from the cosplay confession. China is so insecure. Okay, let's continue.
Be turning on Trump. And look, all I'll say is, we'll take it. We love to see it.
Well, we love to see it.
Anybody who was on that Trump train, anybody who was doing that right-wing propaganda.
Unacceptable, for sure. I don't think it came from a place of hatred, but it is still reinforcing the same dynamics in general, but it's coming from more so a blind spot and not like a place of open disdain, even though the intention doesn't really matter in that circumstance, especially if you don't know him. Kyle took Russian money? No, what the fuck? What? What are you saying? What is happening? No wonder everybody fucking hates people like myself in general. If you do any kind of political commentary, no matter how many fucking years you've been at it, there are a million different theories about and a million different fucking pieces of misinformation about every single fucking person. Oh my God, no wonder people believe whatever dumb shit that people believe about me too. Holy fuck. I mean, this is a person I know personally. I've known him for a decade plus, okay?
Propaganda, anybody who was feeding into that right-wing ecosystem online, which was so profitable for so long. I mean, the grift, you never see people grifting left. It's always to the right, because that's where the money is, that's where the popularity is, that's where the most passionate people online are, right?
No. The racist India meme wasn't misinformation. I understand why people are mad at him. No, I know. That's valid. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about fucking people who are saying he got money from Russia or some shit.
But it looks like the tides have shifted so fucking hard against Trump that even some of his strongest soldiers are now falling and are now going, I don't know about this Epstein stuff, bro. I do not know about this Epstein. It doesn't look good. It does not look good. So here we go. Here's Asmongold.
Isn't it time for Asmongold to stop sucking Trump's dick? I've been very critical of Trump regularly. If you look at any of my commentary discussing things that he's done, you'll see that I'm extremely critical of him, even more so recently since the Epstein stuff. So this is just, it's again, just the typical Reddit one-dimensional thinking, because you couldn't vote for Kamala Harris. If she was going to do something, she would have.
She was the vice president. And there were ongoing cases involving the Epstein files, so they couldn't release them even if they wanted to at that time. And she objectively would have been way better, but I digress.
Vote? Of course I didn't vote. Why would I vote if I don't feel like the candidate?
Like, Kyle was also way more in the tank for Mamala than I was. Like, way more. Emma Jordy, Sam Cedar, Kyle, they were definitely maybe a little too lived up by my estimations. I did not, I'm not going to be like, oh, he's a Dem shill or anything like that. Because once again, you should allow people to have different perspectives. Sometimes even those different perspectives could be even heinous, okay? You have to literally understand human beings are complex. You have to look at most of their work. You have to look at their body of work. You have to look at their positions in general, what their first principles are, okay? Slander, Emma was a hater of Mamala. No, everybody here criticized Mamala, okay? Emma did, Sam did, I did, Kyle did. I'm just saying that they were definitely more, Majority report was not in the tank for Mamala like that. That's insane. Stop spreading misinformation. Oh my God, you're literally... I'm simply stating that they were definitely more sympathetic to Mamala than I was, okay?
That it represents my viewpoints and my values to a degree that I feel confident voting for them. And I think that I've been proven right. I have been. I think I've been proven right with that.
So here he is now going, yeah, he's fucking up and that Epstein file shit is kind of bad and like I'm kind of happy I didn't vote for him now, but here's his commentary from the past. Ready?
For this, yeah. I mean, if I had known he was going to do this, I would have voted for him. I would have, like, I 100%. I didn't vote for Donald Trump, but if I did, I would say that I voted for this.
By the way, this was his reaction to the ICE Gestapo thugs rounding up innocent people and his reaction to Trump using the U.S. military to invade U.S. cities illegally, by the way. This was his reaction. Hyper-militarism going after liberals and lefties for disagreeing. This is his reaction.
I've been waiting for this to happen ever since BLM. This is what I voted for. Well, I'll tell you guys, how many of you guys that voted for Trump, you're getting even, it's even better than what you had hoped for. You know he wrote this. Yep, this is what I voted for. Yep.
So I believe this one, I remember this one. It's when Trump was bombing people in Yemen. And Asmongold was like, yeah, bro, this is what everybody voted for. This is amazing, bro.
He wrote this. Yep, this is what I voted for. Yep. To Iran, support for the Houthi terrorists must end immediately. Beware, because America will hold you fully accountable, and we won't be nice about it. Hell will...
Once again, because there's no consensus reality, it kind of doesn't matter if you're just wrong all the time. As long as you are wrong directionally in favor of Donald Trump, and then as long as you can pivot when everybody starts hating on Donald Trump and you start slowly but surely pivoting in the direction of hating on Donald Trump as well, like, you'll be fine. There is no accountability at all. I love that people always use the term accountability, though, whenever they're criticizing people that they just don't like on the internet. But there is no real accountability whatsoever. And there is no need or interest or investment in trying to establish consensus reality at all. And in the absence of consensus reality or even a need for it, you do kind of win favors by leaning into whatever the popular thing is.
Rain down upon you like nothing you have ever
50 bomb.
seen
Thank you,
before.
K-Ton.
What I voted for Trump to do was like what he did with the DEI stuff on day one. What I voted for him to do is what he did with, like, for example, Iran. You didn't vote? Yeah, exactly. But I would
like, for me, let's say I'm watching somebody, right? Let's say I'm watching Asmongold, and he's my primary source of news because he agrees with me. And Asmon has a day off, so I watch this Habibi-san talk shit. No, don't ban that guy. Come on. Unban him. Like, when you got guys like, when there's someone who's like watching him, right, and consistently, and they're like, yeah, I agree, Trump is gonna fucking win massive favors by blowing up Yemen. He's gonna cause Yemen to actually back down and stand down. And then Trump literally comes out the next day and is like, actually, we were wrong. These guys are brave warriors, and we spent far too much money, and we couldn't stop them at all from consistently intercepting ships, and we lost a bunch of planes in the process. So now they can still intercept ships going to Israel, but as long as they don't hit our ships, our Navy in the Red Sea, then that's fine. We won't bomb Sanaa any longer. Doesn't that cause someone who is a fan of not just Asmongold, but like anyone who promotes Trump like this to feel a little stupid? This is my question all the time. I guess, like, if you don't have any diversity in your media diet and you're like only getting information from one side, you just never you never get to see what the truth is, right? Yeah, they just ignore it like Baldur's Gate 3 and wokeness. Yeah, I guess that's kind of how it goes, right? Like, there's no need to course correct at all. Why can't you all just converse with each other instead of reacting to clips and videos and speaking into an echo chamber where everyone agrees with you? I'm not saying this about you, but XQC and Asmongold too. Great question. First of all, XQC is not even a fucking political operative, so I don't know why you're bringing him up in this. I don't think he has a single interest in identifying political issues at all, even though he promoted Donald Trump. Asmongold is the one who refuses to talk to me, not the other way around. It's not. I have said over and over again that I'm perfectly comfortable talking to him, and every single time that we've had a conversation, I've been very charitable, very open-minded, and fairly reasonable. He's the one who doesn't want to do it. So you're climbing up the wrong tree. You're asking the wrong person. So much so that people actually say, I'm too charitable to Asmongold. I'm not aggressive enough or whatever. Yeah, Reddit is now clipping his normie reaction to the Epstein stuff, saying Pam Body should be arrested and it's going viral. They're trying to whitewash him. Yeah. I think when your audience is somewhat devoid of like real politics and just invested in like ruthlessly going after what you perceive as woke or what your ideological enemies are or what your enemies are in the sphere of drama, I think then the audience will basically lean into whichever direction, especially if he manages it, especially if he manages the pivot, especially if he manages to pivot in the centrist direction or center right direction by turning around and being like, yeah, actually Trump should go to jail now because this Epstein stuff is crazy. Do you see what I mean? Reddit is basically bipolar when it comes to Asmongold. No, they're not. They actually like him quite a bit, I think, for the most part, because a lot of the anti-woke guys love him, and then the liberals actually don't really mind him because he is probably the biggest op for their number one enemy, people on the left. Because he's a huge enemy of the liberals, and I would say Reddit is a very liberal platform. So I think they will align with him regularly because he just shits on the left a lot and shits on those targets a lot. Oh, fuck socialists, all this stuff. They're all terrorists.
Voted. If I would have voted, that would have been what I voted for. So did Trump earn your vote by now? If I could go back in time and vote for him, I absolutely would. I did not think that he was going to go this hard at all.
So a little bit different. A little bit different. The stuff before was, oh my God.
Bro, you're telling me the Podjons hate you more than Asmon? What? Are you insane? That's an entirely different part of the internet. Those are adults. Those are political operatives that worked with Barack Obama. We're talking about like people who look at politics in the least sincere ways possible. And politics not about like their analysis. Most people on the internet, their analysis of politics simply comes from whatever drama content that they're consuming. It's team sports. It's all vibes based. It's not the same standard that someone like the Podjons would fucking apply at all. And yes, a lot of people will say, oh, well, the Paul Jones are bad or whatever the fuck. It doesn't matter. They still have a worldview, an established worldview. You might not agree with them, and there's certainly a lot of disagreement from my end as well, but they do actually have they're a little bit more adult, don't you think, in their assessment, in their analysis, in their commentary than someone who is, constantly covering whatever kind of slop that comes down their Reddit timeline. Like how many, to be fair, you are both warriors of billionaire propaganda law. What do you mean? Like, as in I'm fighting against billionaire propaganda and he's basically reinforcing billionaire propaganda? Is that what you mean? Like, what are the Podjohn's attitude about the Casey-tron lawsuit is not a question that you can ask and get a serious answer on. Okay?
He's amazing. Oh my God, he's great. Oh, I should have voted for this. Oh, this is incredible. And by the way, virtually every single thing he was referring to as a reason to vote for Trump is a reason that should horrify any normal American. Any normal American goes, really? Should we crack skulls of innocent people and send them to CCOT, to a concentration camp where they get raped and tortured with no due process whatsoever? Should they really blow off judges' decisions? Is that really a good idea? Should he invade U.S. cities with the U.S. military wildly, illegally? Should he do every one of those things? Should he illegally bomb Yemen? Should he really do that? Every one of those things when he was going, yeah. But the thing that actually made Asmongold go, I don't know about this guy anymore. It's the Epstein files. It is. So one more time. Listen again.
Isn't it time for Asmongold to stop sucking Trump's dick? I've been very critical of Trump regularly. If you look at any of my commentary discussing things that he's done, you'll...
Yeah, no, it's base. Yeah, base. Wouldn't necessarily say that that's critical. Maybe critical levels of dick riding.
See that I'm extremely critical of him, even more so recently since the Epstein stuff. So this is just, it's again, just the typical Reddit, one-dimensional thinking, because, you couldn't vote for Kamala Harris. If she was going to do something, she would have. So yeah, you didn't even vote? Of course I didn't vote. Why would I vote if I don't feel like the candidate represents my viewpoints and my values to a degree that I feel confident voting for them? And I think that I've been proven right. I have been. I think I've been proven right with that.
So let me just say, this is what happens when you're at 35% approval rating. This is what happens when you were all over those Epstein emails. There were 23,000 emails. Trump.
Like, if Donald Trump was also bringing about like great economic prosperity for his base right now, he would not be sitting at 35 approval. He would not be sitting at 35%. Okay. If at the very least there was something tangible to lean into for his base, they would be. They would be doing it nonstop. That's why it's always funny whenever Trump says, why are you guys talking about Epstein and not talking about how incredible my administration has been so far with the economy and things like that? And it's like, for example, they're right now posting dubs. They're currently posting fucking W's all over the timeline about how the GDP increase, the economy's actually on the up and up. It is the most Brandonized shit I've ever seen. And the reason why I'm saying that is because everybody knows the only economic movement that's taking place right now is basically NVIDIA and OpenAI and all these other fucking AI companies spreading the same like $100 billion around, just exchanging hands over and over and over again. It's like 7 companies circle jerking, and no one is seeing the benefits of that, right? No one is seeing the benefits of that. Everyone is actually experiencing serious pain right now. So when these guys, when Trump dick riders come out and go, look, dude, it's fucking awesome, actually. Look, our economy is on the up and up. A lot of people who are not feeling that money getting spread around are going to go, excuse me, what the fuck do you mean? And there's also nothing to hold on to, like I said, for those guys, because there's no, like, the impact of, like, shitting on trans people or the impact of, like, deporting undocumented migrants and documented migrants. Like, that hasn't led to any serious, that hasn't been accompanied with, like, economic improvements in their day-to-day existence. And therefore, even they get soured on that shit, where they go, okay, housing is still unaffordable, so the fuck do I care? Let's talk about DDR5 RAM increase, for example, for gamers to understand the economic impact. Yeah. All of these Republicans, if all of the mass deportations actually led to economic improvement for the average Republican, okay, they would be running around being like, Mr. President, you can fuck all the children you want. I promise you. Maybe not all the Republicans, but many of the Republicans be like, I don't really care. I'm doing good. I'm doing good right now. My money is up. Americans are very selfish, right? many of them would turn around and say, "Oh, dude, Mr. President, I'll give you my firstborn actually, because guess what? The economy's doing so great. I'm able to purchase a home." They would find ways to deal with the Epstein stuff. They'd be like, "Oh, it's probably AI," you know? But because the economy is not good and only getting worse for the average person, they don't lean into the Democrat hoax narratives. It's kind of like what I explained with Candace Owens, right? Everybody that was cherishing her commentary because she was really fucking pushing it with the TPUSA stuff and feeding into conspiratorial thinking over and over again. All those people who celebrated her running ad breaks in between her commentary about how sad she was about Charlie Kirk's demise, untimely demise, will almost overnight flip on her when she's not giving them what they demand. The very same reasons, the very same things that you actually overlooked or found to be fine or even celebrated or cherished, right, will give you the ick. Think about it like being in a relationship, okay? Some relationships have a timeline. And by the time you get to the end of the relationship, things that you might have found quirky and cute about your partner might actually give you the ick, okay? Little things start bothering you. Little things start annoying you. Honeymoon period is over. It's kind of like that. And then you can't stand your partner. It's the same principle with people who develop parasocial attitudes and parasocial sentiment for their favorite cult leaders like Donald Trump, or their favorite political commentators, whether it be Asmongold or Candace Owens, or even myself, can find themselves despising the very same things that they either overlooked or actually appreciated and celebrated. I know this from my own personal experience. There's plenty of people who, at one point, maybe defended on principle me purchasing a house for myself and my family, who might actually turn around and literally be like, "Actually, I thought that was bullshit. I was always suspicious. I always thought that meant you're not a real socialist." You know? It happens.
Trump was in about 1,600 of them. We learned that, for example, in 2011, he was at Epstein's house with a victim, quote, 4 hours. Okay? This is what happens when you illegally demolish the east wing of the White House and then go to build went from $100 million to $200 million to $300 million to $400 million billionaire ballroom. At the same time, unemployment's going up and inflation's going up and people can't afford groceries. They're using Klarna to get groceries. This is what happens in that scenario. Yep. This is what happens when you cut off 92 million pounds of food aid that was going to go to food banks for the holidays, and now people are starving. This is what happens when you freeze 42 million, you kick 42 million off of the SNAP program, the food stamp program. This is what happens when 18 million lose their Medicaid and health insurance premiums double, triple, quadruple, and in some cases more. Even the strongest soldiers no longer have a case to make for you. They don't have a case anymore. And by the way,
do you buy the theory that the ballroom is a data center? Wait, no, but that's pretty funny. I like that.
Look, I am super proud of Ro Khanna. I really am, because Ro Khanna has been leading on the Epstein files. I see him in reaction to this fake release of the files where only 1% of the files were released and they were heavily fucking redacted, and they're protecting Trump, and they accidentally released some stuff that had Trump's pictures. Then they pulled it back down to try to protect Trump. In the midst of all this, who's leading the way? Ro Khanna. Ro Khanna's out there. I've seen him on every single show talking about this, talking about we're going to go after Pam Bondi, we're going to impeach her, we're going to, hold her in contempt for not abiding by the law. And it's now at the point where Hassan Piker is, backing Ro Khanna on this. Asmongold was watching Hassan Piker talk to Ro Khanna, and Asmongold goes, "I can see myself supporting this guy, Ro Khanna." So I saw the streamer XQC was saying he wants to get Ro Khanna on stream, and he's a guy he could support. Asmongold saying the same thing. When you manage to unite me, Hassan, and Asmongold, man, that's some special shit. I don't know if there's anybody in the country that could do that. But because Ro Khanna is leading with conviction and integrity, and he's fighting for the truth, for Americans to know the truth about what happened with Epstein, he's creating strange bedfellows. It's that old saying, politics creates strange bedfellows. It sure as shit does. But by the way, Asmongold was, I don't know about Trump now. Here's what he was saying not that long ago. Ready?
We have featured more than 1,000 anti-Semites on our platforms. 1,000. Feature them publicly, clearly, and with evidence. The results speak for themselves.
The evidence, by the way, is like maliciously edited clips and things like that. Everybody who's part of the America First agenda should view being listed on this website as a qualification to run for office. If you get listed on this website as being an enemy of the goals of Israel.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Yeah, this is recent now. Yeah, he used to be a woke warrior. Bro, this is a bigger flip. This is the Osama bin Laden. This is the Osama bin Laden of flips, okay? anti-socialist warrior paving the pathway to peace to guy who did 9/11. Okay? How the fuck did that happen? Going from every single day talking big shit. Wait, what is this?
You know, backing Ro Khanna on this. Asmongold was watching Hassan Piker talk to Ro Khanna, and Asmongold goes, I can see myself supporting this guy, Ro Khanna.
Yeah, no, you can't put a lot of emphasis into what he claims he's supporting and what he's not. Okay? That's just, you know, that's all. He doesn't have real convictions. I don't think people care, though, to be fair. Like, I don't think his audience cares that much either. I think they just want a fair weather chud.
So I saw the streamer XQC was saying he wants to get Ro Khanna on stream and he's a guy he could support. Asmongold saying the same thing. When you manage to unite me, Hassan, and Asmongold, man, that's some special shit. I don't know if there's anybody in the country that could do that. But because Ro Khanna is leading with conviction and integrity, and he's fighting for the truth, for Americans to know the truth about what happened with Epstein, he's creating strange bedfellows. It's that old saying, politics creates strange bedfellows. It sure as shit does. But by the way, Asmongold was, I don't know about Trump now. Here's what he was saying not that long ago. Ready?
We have featured more than 1,000 anti-Semites on our platforms. 1,000. Feature them publicly, clearly, and with evidence. The results speak for themselves.
The evidence, by the way, is like maliciously edited clips and things like.
He wants to have Ro Khanna on his show to smear him? No, dude, it's clout. How do you guys not understand? Brother, please, you are fucking mistaking people's their output as people doing commentary as like people with real convictions. What the fuck are you talking about? There are political operatives out there who have real points of view. Not many of them, but there are those who have convictions. For Asmongold, this is not about conviction. This is about like seeing whichever way the wind blows and leaning into it as aggressively as possible. That's why from the start, I said, when the time comes and woke makes a full-blown comeback, you will see him completely back away from a lot of these positions that he's been championing. And all of his fans will forget about it. He'll develop new fans. One of the worst things you can do as a political commentary person is have real convictions. Okay? People who have real convictions will always be major ops because the entire sphere is guided by people who have no convictions. Okay? As a matter of fact, I'll give you one example from someone who was an op of mine. Ben Shapiro, grifter on everything, right? Except for one real conviction that he holds. Dick riding Israel into oblivion. Okay? Ben Shapiro is pro-Israel. He will never hide that. That is one of the things that he cares about the most, okay? He can go back and forth on Trump. He can do whatever he can say whatever. Bro loves moral high standing. Oh, yeah. Ben Shapiro is Israel first, okay? And because he is Israel first, I love the people saying Asmongold is pretty consistent in the chat, by the way. All the Roachman's fans are in here. I don't know if he's streaming today or not, but I suspect that we're getting a Roach infestation currently. Moral high standing? Yes, they don't just, it's okay. Okay? It's fine. Ben Shapiro has convictions when it comes to Israel. And now he's currently getting punished for it. He's getting eaten alive. For the longest time, it didn't matter because everyone else was also pro-Israel, right? So he could get away with it. He could actually say Nick Fuentes is an outsider. He's not a real one. Ben Shapiro, I'm a part of the real, conservative movement, stuff like that. Reddit libs already fooled by Asmon's turnaround saying, we like people who actually admit they are wrong. Unlike Hassan, road supporters still think you are a terrorist. It's so weird. Brother, it is because these people do not have any fucking real understanding of politics. That's the whole point. 5 years from now, when they look back at this stuff, they will completely adopt every single thing that I have said from way before October 7, okay? And they will still hate me, okay? It doesn't matter. Just let it go. It doesn't matter. For them, politics is not about like identifying tangible goals and moving in that direction is just drama. And I don't even fault them for it, okay? I don't fault them for seeing it as drama. Do you want to know why I don't fault them for seeing it as drama? Because neither fucking major party in the United States of America is actually leading by policies that they care about, policies that they want to advance. If anything, it's usually the Republicans that have a discernible goal that they're trying to advance, even if that goal is fucking horrible for the average American, okay? Democrats are constantly on a defensive posture against the Republicans moving the country in the worst direction. That's it. So, of course, people who dive into the realm of politics will always drop policy and ideology and simply focus on whatever is fascinating about it. And what's fascinating about it in the realm of online is going to be drama. Drama anchored around not policies or goals or agendas, but drama that revolves around individual content creators. I don't like Hassan because he's a terrorist is a thought-terminating cliche that people keep saying to themselves over and over again like a fucking mantra, okay? Why are you always unhappy no matter what Trump says? Lol, that's a good thing. I'll start using it now. Clip out of context, Zach reacts. Taken out of context, you react. Get taken out of context, Zach reacts. Recycle and repeat. Misunderstanding / misinterpretations. Okay. There's only one side in this equation, for the record, that doesn't want to talk directly, and that is Asmongold, the person who you are a fan of. I'm sure you've heard him explain away exactly why. This is just my perspective from the outside. I don't dislike or don't like you. I do enjoy here, though. Yeah, I'm just saying. It's not like both sides are doing the wrong thing here. I mean, I've very clearly stated my position on this. I'll have a conversation with him anytime, any place. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm not going to fucking cast aside these people, by the way. I'm not going to say, fuck you, because that only hardens their position and feeds into the polarization, regardless of how silly their worldview may be. My point is, a lot of these people on the internet do not anchor themselves around a tangible goal, around a specific worldview. They simply anchor themselves around individuals and the drama that they find to be fascinating. And that's the only way that they think they can consume political content. Okay? That's it. And in that realm, whoever drives clicks in a negative manner will always be fucking obliterated. That is precisely the reason why so many of the slop tubers and the centrists and even some of the liberals have identified someone like myself as a major threat for the last 2 years, consistently calling me a terrorist. Even if they agree with my position on Israel now, back then they certainly didn't, because they don't really have real positions on Israel. They're simply leaning into what they think. They're simply leaning into what they think is the popular position. And for many in their audiences, they're just victims of propaganda. They're victims of misinformation. There's a steady flow of people saying, well, Israel might be doing something wrong every now and then, but those people kind of deserve it. They're scary. They're Muslim. And if you hear that a million times over, of course you're going to agree with it. Why wouldn't you agree with it? If there's no one in the bubble that you are that you've created for yourself that has actually told you, if no one in your bubble has actually told you, like, hey, this stuff is wrong, and the only time you hear someone who doesn't agree with you, you hear it in a completely out of context manner, in the most negative framing possible, you're never going to broach the other side's point of view. You're never going to want to seek it out. You're never going to entertain it. Right? I get on negative tangents on stream too, and you are 100% on one right now. Chill out with a nice relaxing game of Block Zors. Wait, what? I'm not on a negative tangent at all. What? But that's it. If there is a steady flow of an endless sequence of negative framing on a political commentary person such as myself that is constantly feeding people's appetite, they're never going to actually turn around and see whether or not there is any truth to these claims, right? They're just going to go, yeah, this guy fucking sucks. I can't wait to see the next episode of why this guy fucking sucks. Yeah, you're really being negative about the current events in 2025. America, yeah.
that. Everybody who's part of the America First agenda should view being listed on this website as a qualification to run for office. If you get listed on this website as being an enemy of the goals of Israel, then you are actually America First. Like, you can't say this about Palestine, you can't say this about Israel, and somebody who's an activist for this is going to be criticized in this way. It's ridiculous. They try to dox, mislabel, defame, slander, and misrepresent anybody who goes against their interests, and then creating a chilling effect across the entire country to prevent negative discourse about a country. They only have the power that you let them have. And so if you see something like this happening, you can just simply get enough people together and then make it stop happening. But AIPAC pays them so much, you have to get a lot of people together. Yeah, it's by the way, that's going to happen. It's going in that direction, and they can't stop it. People don't want their country run by a foreign power. And I think that it's snowballing very, very, very fast.
So that was Asmongold now talking about, oh, this looks like Israel first. The Trump regime is putting Israel first. That's a huge problem. Here's what he was saying not that long ago.
Is removable under the Secretary of State Marco Rubio's assertion that his continued presence and his actions in the United States actually compromise a foreign policy.
Bro, Asmon got that line straight from you? Yeah. In the past, the very same commentary that I made that he considered to be terrorist commentary, pro-terrorism commentary, and anti-Semitic commentary that is worthy of deplatforming, he now has adopted. And he's gone even beyond. He actually does talk about how he wants to promote actual anti-Semites, right? And what changed is not his actual worldview, for the record. What changed is the popular sentiment. So much so that even he realizes, like, he'll still hit the Hassan is an anti-Semitic terrorist button, as he did with the Bondi Beach massacre, right? Because, like, in between him saying, like, oh, these Israel first politicians need to go, he still turned around and said, oh, I bet Hassan's fans were responsible for the slaughter that took place on the Hanukkah festival. So he's still pretty fucking gross about it, right? He'll still go back and forth because for his audience, they're not anchored around like being pro-Israel or being anti-Israel, right? They're anchored around resentment towards individuals. They're anchored around a consistent flow of like shitting on whoever his enemies are, ordained enemies are. So he could one day turn around and be like, oh, actually, I'm on the fuck Israel side of things, and I'm really, really anti-Israel, and I even understand why some people fight back against Israel, all this stuff, adopt the things that I've been saying, the talking points that I've been saying all along. Those guys his fan base will still require a steady flow of fuck Hassan content. So he'll still probably be inconsistent on that front because most of those guys won't turn around and go, wait a minute, he's actually anti-Israel, Hassan is anti-Israel. So what's the disagreement here? Why is he still calling Hassan a terrorist? They won't think about it like that. They'll simply look at it and be like, yeah, give me more.
And political priorities. That's very stunning because that is actually the only thing that she ruled on today. She did not rule on the other allegations that were raised by DHS that he allegedly misrepresented information on his green card application.
None of that matters. It doesn't have to matter. Like, they can just deport him for whatever reason they want.
So that is the exact opposite of what his new take is. Mahmoud Khalil did the exact.
Yeah. Also, once again, that was fucking bullshit. That was utter horseshit. He was celebrating Mahmoud Khalil getting deported. He demanded more of it. It was completely ridiculous. At the time, he was still in real time reacting to my commentary, and I was saying, like, you're wrong about the law, that the American government has to justify why they are seeking out the deportation of someone, especially someone who is married to an American citizen with a child on the way, who has a green card already. All of that stuff is bullshit. The Constitution actually protects citizens and non-citizens alike on First Amendment grounds. He was completely wrong. He was completely wrong on that stuff, but his audience never actually turned around and went, because all those cases fell apart, did his audience actually turn around and go, hey, remember when you said that? Remember when you said Mahmoud Khalil was supposed to be deported and how good that was? Why didn't that happen? Right? Or when now he talks about or why his audience won't call into question his like full-blown pivot on Israel, because he's always been like an edgy guy, right? So he's always like leaned into anti-Semitic memes from time to time in an effort to be like, see, I'm based, I'm edgy, while also doing the work of Israel every single fucking day. He also tried to prove you wrong only to watch a clip of himself agreeing with Netanyahu. Asmongold responded to my post about him backtracking his opposition to anti-Israel protesters. He said, I'm lying. To prove me wrong, he showed an old video of himself watching Netanyahu call anti-Israel protesters idiots, but back then Asmongold said he's right. Daily praise.
A year of daily praise. It's crazy that this account is called Disinformation Tracker. I think that it's accurate because the entire account tracks disinformation by posting it every day. It's not true. No, it's just simply not true.
Now claims he never trusted Trump. And he says protesting Israel's America first, despite prior calls for protesters to be jailed and deported.
So this entire idea that I'm just like warming up to the idea of being hostile towards Israel, or not even hostile, but just, you know, not wanting to support Israel as America. I mean, this is just, it's just a factually untrue statement. And all you have to do is look at my videos and you'll immediately see that's true. What he's saying is, look at this, watch this.
Right.
This was crazy.
We become Iran's useful idiots. Yeah.
Get ready,
Right.
get ready.
He is correct about that, though.
Jesus.
His chat is all saying, actually, he's based, wholly
Jesus.
based.
He's got a point? No, he's, well, part of what he's saying is true. No, it is.
That's amazing.
And see, I've been consistent about this the entire...
What? Wait. Wow, you really tackled that disinformation by showing perhaps the most inopportune time where you are in agreement with Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm sure he didn't like that they were clapping like fucking seals, but he also was. You need to focus and say how wrong he is because he likes to mention they're not saying I'm wrong. What do you mean? He is wrong. He was wrong because he's inconsistent on this position. He's at the mercy of his own chat. He sees his own chat hit like, well, he's not wrong on this point, though. He's not wrong on this point, though, which is why he reflected that attitude. On the one hand, he understands that it looks really fucking strange that the entire Congress is clapping like fucking seals, cackling like hyenas at the mere thought, at every fucking applause break that a foreign leader is delivering to Congress, okay? But also, there are a lot of things that foreign leader is saying that Asmongold's chat agrees with. Like, for example, all the pro-Palestinian protesters doing the bidding of Iran. And that's why he found himself directly agreeing. Curious, why did he click away before your clip played? Because you can't show the actual point, even if it's like more than 30 seconds long. Because God forbid you see me uninterrupted, just like he did when he was watching my Ro Khanna interview where he agreed with me, okay? He knows it's the same reason why he doesn't want to have a conversation. He doesn't want to entertain a debate. He is worried that if we did actually have a conversation, he would realize that, you know, many of his audience have been misled, usually by Asmongold, about what my positions are. It's always been negatively framed. You have to control the flow of information. Him happening to agree with Netanyahu on one thing doesn't mean he agrees with him on everything. What part of that you don't understand? Oh, that's the point that I was trying to explain to you. People like yourself don't recognize this, okay? Here's the issue. He takes a wishy-washy centrist position while simultaneously heavily leaning against the anti-Israel protesters. If you are in agreement with the American government at the time deporting anti-Israel protesters, and you regularly lie to your audience or are just objectively incorrect about your understanding of the law, you're objectively incorrect about who for the First Amendment actually chooses to protect and who it doesn't choose to protect, all this stuff. If you demand deportations of people who are speaking out against a foreign country like Israel by the American government, okay, then it's understandable for people to assume that you might be a little bit more pro-Israel than you let on. That's it. This is the Cope position. He never cared about Israel. I know he doesn't care about Israel. I know he doesn't give a shit about anything. That's my point. He doesn't have real political convictions at all. He's just feeding you whatever you want to hear. And I think he is pretty good at it, right? He's obviously pretty good at it, where his position is the most commonly held position on the right at this point, which is, I hate Muslims. They're all barbaric. They're all backwards. They shouldn't be coming to this country because they cannot assimilate to our glorious American culture, and Western civilization is under attack. But also, Israel, led by Jews, is destroying American culture in a different way and is totally dominating Americans and totally humiliating Americans. Bomb it all and let God sort it out. This is a position that a lot of right-wingers have. The difference, however, is that some people actually say enough is enough in terms of the amount of money that we're giving to Israel, in terms of the amount of influence that pro-Israel advocacy groups have. And then they do actually take a real anti-Israel position. They don't actually celebrate people like Mahmoud Khalil getting deported. Asmongold is not one of those people. Asmongold spent the last 2 years, like I said, over and over again, advocating for the pro-Israel position. He might have actually made you believe that he wasn't pro-Israel, but what matters in that situation is either he was either he was foolishly and inadvertently defending the pro-Israel position by saying all of Israel's critics must be deported, right? Or he was doing it on purpose. Because if your position in this situation is, Israel has too much control over the United States of America, but then you literally sound like fucking Barry Weiss over and over and over again, at a certain point, someone should call into question what your actual opinion is, right? And unfortunately for many of you, or not people in this chat, but many of Asmongold's fans, they never actually try to dig deep or understand or even see the inconsistencies of Asmongold's position. That's it. And that's why there is this major inconsistency in his commentary. But I think for a lot of fans, they'll turn around and say, no, he's just like, he just changed his mind. He just changed his mind. He has a new position on it. I don't think that's the case.
Thing you were saying people should do.
Why don't editors weaponize Asmongold's own words against them? Well, therein lies the problem. Because a lot of people, Asmongold is a very popular YouTuber and a very popular Twitch streamer for many, many years before he dove into the political arena, right? And because of that, because of the, multiple decades that he has been around, he's cultivated a very diehard fan base. And he's also not shy about weaponizing his fan base against any of his critics. So when you have a lot of people in your fan base that are a part of all these other fan bases as well, whether it be, Moist Critical's fan base or whether it be all the slop tubers and centrists and their fan bases as well, they're not going to go after him. Okay? They're not going to go after him. One, because they don't want to offend Asmongold fans in their audience, right? They've spent years and years cultivating a somewhat apolitical audience, and a lot of these apolitical people will lean in that direction, okay? And when you actually do call out his hypocrisy, or if you do call out his commentary, if you find it to be dangerous, for example, if you find it to be silly or dangerous or whatever, and you actually, do the hasanabi technique on Asmongold for once, then you end up putting your flag in the sand. You say, I'm against this. And he will go after you. He will punish you for saying that, as he has over and over again. And people just don't want that. People don't want to be attacked by Asmongold's audience. Asmon is incredibly consistent on his views. They just don't fit in a neat box. There's more nuance to it. He supported the Israel stance in regards to Palestine, doesn't support Israel in regards to control over the American government. Okay. So you're saying he's pro-Israel doing a genocide. He just wants Israel to do the genocide with its own weapons. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, he just didn't want America involved in Palestine at all. Yeah, without American involvement, Israel would not exist, so it doesn't really matter. So, again, this reflects on your or his lack of understanding of history. Because without American intervention and steady flow of weapons and political and social support, material support to Israel, it would be Palestine. And I suspect you're wrong on this. And I'm certain that he has talked about Israel having a right to defend itself, or even like Iron Dome spending and shit like that in the past as well.
Criticizing Israel. And they deported him for his free speech criticizing Israel. You supported that. And now you're saying, well, obviously we should...
Like, do you understand how silly that sounds, by the way, where you're like, he's just consistent in his position. It's just nuanced. Okay, then why the fuck do you think it's appropriate for the American government to spend any money deporting people who are also saying the same shit Asmongold is saying now, which is that Israel has a lot of fucking influence over American politics, and that must end? Do you understand how inconsistent that position is, chatter? How can you, on the one hand, celebrate the deportation of people or the jailing of people that are literally in agreement with your position, apparently? Genocide or not, whether you agree with Israel doing a genocide or you don't agree with Israel doing a genocide, what is clear is, yeah, he said this was base. Like, the Tufts University PhD student being detained by federal agents. Same with fucking Mahmoud Khalil. He said it was fucking cool. He said it was awesome. That is anti-First Amendment. Okay? Bro, I like you, but your chat does the same thing. They go after people like rabid dogs. I, unlike Asmongold, actively tell my chat never to go after people. So whether people do it or not, I at least try to get them to not do it. Okay? And plus, you don't even have a fucking real world example of this. I even tell people not to go after people who are calling me out with regular fucking frequency. It's probably a mistake. It's so fucking annoying because he hides behind the exact thing that he said. They have every right to do whatever they want. Does not equal I agree with, or at least what he says.
Support Israel. We should all get on a list for criticizing Israel because that's the patriotic thing to do. Because they're doing Israel first. We need to do America first. This is incredible.
That's what the rules say. I said this at the beginning. Everybody's getting mad at me for saying.
Brother, it's not America first. It's not America first. Once again, while I watch both you and him. I don't agree with all his positions personally, particularly on Israel-Palestine, but I do think his views are consistent. You are watching an inconsistency, and you are having a hard time, perhaps, because you might really like this guy, okay? And that's fine. You really like him, and you don't want to see him. You don't want to see him be undermined. You don't want to see his worldview be undermined because you agree with his worldview, or at least you've been led to believe that his worldview is consistent. Okay. The question I have for you once again is, if you are America first and you agree with cutting ties with Israel, as you say, Asmongold is consistent on, why would you want the American government to literally criminalize people who are criticizing Israel? I'm an American citizen. Asmongold has demanded my deplatforming over and over again because of my anti-Israel commentary. Mahmoud Khalil is a green card holder. Asmongold in this video is talking about how fucking based it is that Mahmoud Khalil, for taking an anti-Israel stance, should be deported from the country. That is not an America First position. That is not a consistent position. Do you understand?
It's like it's a fucking fact. Yeah, that's what the rules say. That's fucked up, though. No, it's not.
What I do is revoke visas. And it's very simple. A visa is not a right. It is a privilege. People apply for student visas to come into the United States and study.
That's right.
Get the fuck out, bro. Get them the fuck out.
So they sacrifice their free speech. If they come to this country, they sacrifice their right to free speech. No, that's the whole point of a right. A right means it's off the table. It's protected no matter what. It's the opposite of a privilege. A privilege is something that can be given and taken away. A right is something that's supposed to be set in stone, off the table, always protected. So no, you don't sacrifice your right.
Like, if you are objectively anti-First Amendment, then I don't understand how you can be America first. It's additionally funny to be objectively anti-First Amendment in defense of not even America, but a foreign country, Israel, in this situation. It's the least pro-America first position you can arrive at.
Free speech if you're an immigrant to this country. We all at one point or another were immigrants to this country. Does that mean we can't criticize the government? We can't say things they don't want us to say? No, this is literally against the First Amendment, against the Constitution.
This is what I voted for. It's crazy that left-wing people have gotten flanked so bad that this is now a position that they have to fight against.
Is that what Ms. Ostork did? We're not going to give you a visa and you do that, Mr.
Look how
Secretary.
mad he is.
Yeah, he's mad because somebody was deported for writing an op-ed that was mildly critical of Israel. That's why he's mad. And actually, if I remember correctly, her case, she was like disappeared for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And it was so bad, even Charlie Kirk actually criticized that one. Okay? That one was so insane that even Charlie Kirk was like, this is a bridge too far. Understand how fucking psychotic that is. I remember Charlie Kirk, who was super on board with the deportation of Mahmoud Khalil, saw the Öztürk situation and was like, this is a little bit too much, I think. This is a direct violation. Even though both are direct violations. Rumeysa Öztürk was black-bagged and kidnapped in broad fucking daylight for an article that she wrote, lightly criticizing Israel in her college newspaper. Nothing radical, even though if she wrote something radical, it still would have been unjustifiable. But this adds insult to injury.
They like disappeared her.
In rage face.
And you do that, Mr. Secretary. And every single one of these cases, the factors are different. The bottom line is, if you come here to stir up trouble on our campuses, we will deny you a visa. And if you
Why did this guy stop responding, by the way? I don't think you are fully informed on how he operates. Why did the other guy stop responding when I pointed out this inconsistency?
First Amendment applies to the United States. And we're going to do more.
It shouldn't. If I could go back in time and vote for him, I absolutely would. I did not think that he was going to go this hard at all. Protest, what makes a protest unlawful? The refusal to disperse when the police tell you to disperse, and the like restricting access and freedom of movement in a public place.
Yeah, when China does this, by the way, he will say this is authoritarian. Okay, understand this. If the police control the boundaries of protest, then they could just say every protest is unlawful. And as a matter of fact, as someone who has attended many protests, I will tell you, they do that all the time. Okay? That is also a violation of the First Amendment. Taking on every single instance of state violence and saying, well, it's justifiable because the cops said so, is basically the same way that like people defend Russia or people defend protests that get tackled or dispersed in places like China. Everywhere else around the world, this is what happens. This is what states do. I agree with you. I think he was wrong in that situation about the deportation of Khalil. I think he was positioning himself against Palestine in that instance. So in that instance, he was pro-Israel. What the fuck does that even mean, brother? I don't understand anymore. Okay, so he was inconsistent then. That was my point. He is being inconsistent. It is not America first at all. You are trying to figure out a way to justify the previous argument that you made. One of the greatest, most liberating things that one can do is to say, you know what, maybe I was wrong on this. I promise you, you will win a lot more favors in that regard, okay? It's okay. Like, I'm not going to bully you. I'm not going to penalize you. I'm not going to punish you. I'm not even going to fucking remember what you said prior. Why is it that Asmon fans come to try to debate you, yet Asmon avoids the debate or talk to you? Because Asmongold fans have anonymity at least, so I can't like call into question their previous statements, so they think they can be sheltered like that, but all they're doing is regurgitating Asmongold's talking points, and Asmongold knows better than all of his fans to not come and have a conversation with me because I will immediately call out that inconsistency. He just doesn't want to, he doesn't want to be embarrassed. Yeah, Asmon's fans are duped. Asmon knows that, which is why he's afraid. And many of his fans won't even actually come in here and entertain my side, which is precisely the reason why I don't go too hard on Asmongold's fans unless they're like literally coming in here to be like, you're a fucking terrorist, I'm going to kill you, right? And there are plenty of those and we ban them. But when someone comes in here as a fan of Asmongold, I don't immediately fucking attack them because at least those people are literally entertaining my position without being negatively framed. Okay? Yeah, being in an echo chamber does feel good. I totally get that. You don't follow reason, he does. Once again, I just showed you how unreasonable this inconsistency is. I know you can just repeat that over and over again like a mantra, as like a self-soothing behavior, like a baby. Just because someone says that they're actually utilizing facts, utilizing logic, you are full of contradictions, Law. Present to me a contradiction in any of my political opinions, please. Let me guess, socialism but house, socialism but rich, right? That's not a contradiction, but you assume it's a contradiction, and you will continue to present it as a contradiction. Go ahead, give me an example. You said you are not gay. That's funny. I was wrong on a point, and I looked for that chatter for 2 freaking days to tell them they were right, and I was wrong. Lol, the fuck you want to be right for if you know you're not? I'm a fan of both of you, but when you frame his positions disingenuously and hyperbolically, it doesn't sit quite right with me. I generally like your takes. Okay. What is the position that I'm framing disingenuously or hyperbolically? Asmongold is inconsistent on his stances as it pertains to Israel. Asmongold, in this video, is very clearly showcasing how so much support for people who are critical of Israel. And now Asmongold himself is actually saying the exact same things that he demanded people get deported over. Do you feel like that was a sincere and you say he's for the genocide, but he isn't, for example? Brother, he literally said that the Palestinians are worthy of genocide because they have a, what are you talking about? That was his own position. You want me to pull up the clip? I'm sure he might have changed his position from that point on, but he did openly say that. That's not what he said. Yeah, Palestinians are an inferior culture that's incredibly violent, and that's why I don't care if they're being genocided. If you consider that to not be pro-genocide, then why the fuck do you hate Barry Weiss, for example? Like this doesn't
consider-
doesn't make any sense. These have to be troll comments on purpose using framing to look contentious. Yeah, this is what I don't understand.
a genocide as a systematic killing of a group of people. They have genocide built into Sharia law right now. So no, I'm not going to cry a fucking river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a fuck. They're terrible people.
Yes, pull it up. That's not what he said. Okay.
It's not even a question. It's crazy that people don't see it that way. They'd be doing the same thing.
Sometimes I feel like Asmongold fans come in here to do like a slam dunk compilation for me, like where they just come in here to showcase like how you know, they think they can have like a semantics perverted debate, okay, over the minutia, but it just like doesn't work at all.
And how much did they kill? As many as they can. They're not able to kill as many people as Israel because they don't have as many bombs and as many weapons. But if they did, they'd be doing the same thing. That's it. Just takes enough. That's right. These people are not your allies. They are not.
Just gave a contradiction law. Wait, what? What's that? What's the contradiction? Brother, you have to be able to, you know, give me one example, right? You just said you support, contradiction. You support CCP police, but are pro-protest in the USA. At what point did I say that I was against protests in China? Point to a single instance where I've ever said protest in China is actually wrong and immoral or bad. As a matter of fact, I think you didn't understand my point that I was making earlier when I said suppression of dissent, no matter where it is, whether it be China or Russia, is wrong. Okay? Did you hear me say that just now? Is that why you just like leaned into that? Look at your actions in China, total contradictions. What are you talking about? Oh, he's right though. Okay, so you agree with him on his position. You agree with his like, I don't care about Israel genociding Palestinians position, because that's a little different. You say he's for the genocide, but he isn't, for example, but you agree with him. So what you're doing here is not actually addressing the position that Asmongold is taking. You just simply agree with him, and therefore you don't want to admit that you and him on this issue are on the pro-genocide position. Okay, got it. No, I mean, that's understandable. That's you're missing a huge contradiction. He used to talk to you literally on stream, and now he says all kinds of shit to avoid talking to you, saying you're bad faith or that he doesn't like talking to people because of reasons. No, I know. Notice how everyone that says I'm a fan of both of you, oftentimes, weirdly enough, are definitely fans of one side and not the other. It's just so strange because people will always be like, no, I'm a fan of both of you. But I mean, Asmongold is actually very logical. I hope that's the case. And I hope you guys can be open-minded, especially because you're here, especially because you're here. So I like to assume that even on accident, you might actually arrive at my positions somehow. You might just get like, it's worse than that. I think it's about Hassan not getting mad when during his interaction with that cop in China. That's so funny. That's not a contradiction. The American police, regardless of my American citizenship, the border police have detained me and in violation of American laws against an American citizen, demanded answers for what my political associations were and detained me for 2 hours, as opposed to a 2-minute back and forth conversation that ended with me continuing my stream at Tiananmen Square as a foreigner in a foreign adversary. It's pretty obvious that my position there is consistent as well. Do I think it's appropriate to look at people's phones? Of course not. I think it's fucking ridiculous. Having said that, I'm going to match that with my experiences that I've had with my own country, where I have so much more power. I'm supposed to have so many more rights and liberties. A country that actually does have free speech, that is not abiding by the principles of free speech when they do things like that. Once again, this is not a contradiction. My own country, and the police that I actually pay the salaries of have opened fire on myself and my neighbors while we were out exercising our First Amendment rights that are supposed to be constitutionally protected. That, I think, is unacceptable. I'm not pro-genocide either. Obviously, I do really enjoy your streams and your takes, but you just misinterpret things in such a hyperbolic way that sometimes it makes it a little bit less credible. Brother, when someone says Israel doing a genocide is perfectly valid, I don't really care because, like, invented reason, Palestinians have genocide baked into their DNA, and you say you agree with them, then I don't understand why you're still claiming that you're not pro-genocide. We can hear the things that you're saying. It's not a misinterpretation. We can hear the things he's saying here. It's very strange. It's a very strange thing that people do. You are saying you're pro-genocide. You're agreeing with Asmongold saying he's pro-genocide, at least in that moment. He might have changed his attitude since then. This chatter is a racist lib that has hurt feelings over feeling called out. I don't know. I don't think he's a racist lib.
Impeding travel, yeah, it's very simple. It's so simple. Roadblocks and the scope of the protest is big. I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like this is like a national event. Yeah, this is a national event. It's a really big fucking deal. And so, like, I think this transcends like a small protest or whatever. I mean, this is a direct protest against the government. And also, like, I'm sure that, I mean, and also this is mainly at night, right? I mean, you're looking at a lot of this at night, so it's probably not as many people driving around. Like, obviously, it's not good to block traffic, but I feel like that's not really, like, the entire city, the entire country is being shut down, right?
So the tune has changed. Hassan also commented on this. He said, the rats are escaping the sinking ship. Asmongold commended the ADL when they were getting pro-Palestinian CCs deplatformed for criticizing Israel for the past 2 years. He supported Trump deporting Mahmoud Khalil. Now he's trying to pivot to an anti-Israel position. And that's the point that everybody needs to realize.
I think it's interesting how you give Asmon and everyone so much grace, and then people come in here and won't give you an inch. All the bad faith showcased on a regular basis is astounding. Principles matter. That is a principle that I have. And although I have weak moments where I say enough is enough and I yell and whatever the fuck, right? Okay? Principles matter. That's why I yell at my chat when they constantly fucking, that's why I yell at my chat when they say, oh, why are you being so kind to these people? You should be fucking really giving it to them. And I say, no, that's not how I operate. I argue with my community all the time on what the best practices are. Okay? It's funny because you said people will flip on Israel, but they didn't flip because they care about genocide. They cared because a neo-Nazi convinced them Jews run the world. No, I think that it's a little bit of both. Asman received so much less flack and even be received positively if he just said the words, I was wrong before he did this. Oh, for sure. And I'm sure he will do that as well, eventually, on more indefensible flip-flops. And then liberals will dive into how wonderful and how open-minded he is, because they're always looking for a person. This dude literally said you provided material support to a terrorist organization, and this chatter wants to talk about hyperbolic. Yeah. Yeah. At a time when the administration was openly trying to fucking prosecute people, myself included, when they detained me, they tried to say that I was, they were investigating whether or not I was providing material support to a terrorist organization. Asmongold was running around saying that was the case. And then people still have the audacity to fucking turn around and make it seem as though I'm the one who's being hyperbolic. And I'm the one who's being hyperbolic because I'm actually calling out the inconsistency, for the record.
The whole problem with being a leftist is that we're right too early. On everything, we're right too early.
Yes.
And then eventually everybody catches up and goes, oh yeah, well, that's the duh position. We all agree to that. And I'm not kidding. Think about the Iraq War. I'm old enough to remember living through that era.
This was a really funny one, too. This is like a perfectly captured inconsistency. Here. Asmongold, Hassan is a fake revolutionary. He's not on the street putting his life on the line. Here, if you want to understand like his attitude, this 55-second clip basically explains everything. Okay, here.
You see Hassan? No, I don't see Hassan. I heard he was out there. I don't know. I think that I saw an image of it, and I think he's on like the side up the top. So he's not actually going to go down there and stand in the in this area, because if he did, he'd get in trouble. Right? Like, he has no problem LARPing as a revolutionary, but actually putting it on the line, this is going to be very different, which, to be fair, he was. Well, if he was actually doing that, he should get in trouble. Like, I mean, for sure. He was, though? Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go and double check. He already did? Oh, I'd have to double see and see it. Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I think all of these people should just get arrested. That's really how I see it. Yeah, I mean, I don't see how like, there's no other solution to it other than that. Aren't they impeding a highway? They are. They're impeding a highway.
The most consistent man in American politics. Bro, Rubber Bullet missed your headbutt like an inch or two during this one, right? Yes, this is where me and Marsh were down here, and we got fucking stun grenaded on this one, too. Is it even legal to take such a sharp U-turn? I mean, it's celebrated and is cherished. But once again, Asmongold fans don't care that this is like openly being inconsistent, especially because it's about tackling enemies, okay? If you are inconsistent when you are shitting on someone who is an ordained enemy, an ontologically evil enemy, no amount of inconsistency will snap people out of it. I like the Hutch version of this where he shows how he's so good at always being wrong. The bald head is truly empty. Yeah. Here, yeah, another great example of this is also the inconsistency within like the way these guys, as someone in the chat said, the way these guys are constantly calling everyone a Karen or whiny, right? But all they do is fucking whine, but they're whining in the direction that people agree with, the people in their fan bases agree with, so they don't read that as whiny. What's more Karen-like and whiny than fucking constantly complaining that video games don't have large enough titties for your excitement? Like demanding developers get fired because they're, you know, gay, or they're putting gay shit in video games, and it just like hurts your feelings to see that. And it's ridiculous. Complaining about ridiculous, irrelevant shit and trying to harm people. That right there is peak Karenhood. It's the same reason why a lot of the right that complain about identity politics don't realize that they're routinely doing identity politics when they talk about white men being under attack. When they're doing white identity politics, they don't think that it's identity politics. Do you understand? All of it is fucking inconsistent. Oh, I'm pro First Amendment, but also if you offend me or you hurt my feelings, you should be fucking drawn and quartered.
And in that era, if you said, I'm against the Iraq war, why do you hate the troops? Why are you defending Saddam Hussein? Why are you okay with evil dictators? Like, you got hit with every bullshit argument under the sun. And
that was one of my favorite things too, like even with the Charlie Kirk stuff. Asmongold and many others on the right who are, you know, Mr. Even if it hurts your feelings, free speech is free speech. No one should be canceled. We hate cancel culture. We're actively championing websites, doxing websites that were identifying people that had even posted Charlie Kirk quotes so they would be fired from their jobs. They did that. And now I'm sure they've moved on from that position because everyone is actually clowning on Charlie Kirk's legacy, right? Now the Kirkification memes are so fucking, now the Kirkification memes are so prominent that like they can't even defend that position, right? One of my favorite versions of that was the pedophile neo-Nazi Sam Hyde, Mr. Edge, okay? Mr. I'm responsible for every mass shooting. His community is comprised entirely of fucking, you know, pedophilic neo-Nazis who love how edgy daddy is. Sam Hyde fucking backed himself into a corner because he cried after Charlie Kirk got killed, and his fans were fucking running around being like, oh my God, you made Sam Hyde cry. Now he can't even engage in the Kirkification memes. He basically laid his fucking position as Mr. Edge at they killed Charlie Kirk and now I'm crying and we must punish everyone. I didn't fucking forget. What happened to the Edge? What happened to the fucking Edge? Asmongold defended the firing of a ghost of Yote Dev and said he will follow and make sure she will never get a job. That's it. Anti-SJWs behave in the same exact way that SJWs behave. They railed against SJWs not because of the form and not because of what they were doing, being a nuisance or fucking, trying to get people fired or anything. They argued against them because they didn't agree with their worldview. They don't care about the tactics. They agree with the tactics. Okay? To be fair, Dean Withers did the same thing and he still does Charlie Kirk memes out there crying. Yeah, I don't care. Like, okay, fine. I know. I saw.
It was overwhelming. Like, they did the propaganda build up and it was like some super...
There was never a moment where I entertained like offering reverence to Charlie Kirk or whitewashing his legacy from the first moment on. And it's really interesting because Nick Fuentes, who spent another person who spent his entire fucking political career shitting on Charlie Kirk, stalking him actively, right? Literally yelled about my response to Charlie Kirk. He was like, Hassan should be crying. Like, Hassan should be crying about Charlie Kirk. How dare he? How dare he not respond in the way that I think he should respond? Now he's also doing the fucking Charlie Kirk memes. What happened? What happened? The thing is, I feel like Dean, given his position on the political spectrum, probably gets yelled at a lot more for doing a 180 than any number of different people on the right. That's the other side of this, because the right-wingers don't give a shit about hypocrisy at all, or don't give a shit about people's attitudes changing at all. They just, as long as you're still attacking the common enemy, that's all it is.
Large majority of the country that supported the war. If you were a leftist, you were right too early. Now, you can't find anybody that supports the Iraq war. Everybody agrees with every point we made from day one, right? This is the thing. Lefties are always right too early, and that's exactly what happened in this case too. We were right when we talked about how Trump's in the fucking Epstein files, and Trump is Epstein's best friend, and Trump committed all sorts of heinous crimes with underage girls. We were right about that. People are catching up to that. Now that he's hiding it very clearly, they released pictures of the Epstein files that had him in it, then they pulled it down. Everybody sees what's happening. Everybody understands, and they go, oh shit, this is unacceptable. You know, we said Trump is bought and owned by the Israel lobby. Miriam Adelson gave him $100 million and he did her bidding. Now the quid pro quo is Israel's going to get to steal the West Bank. We warned you about that. It's happening right in front of our eyes. I told you the peace deal was fake. I was the only person saying it on day one.
I'm not a Dean stan by any means, but I don't think you would even call it a 180. He was there when it happened. No, I don't think Dean was there when it happened. Parker was there when it happened. But like, you can at least say Dean knows Charlie Kirk and stuff. You know, he's met Charlie Kirk, shit like that. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I don't give a fuck about the hypocrisy baiting. In general, it was Parker that was there, not Dean that was there. And regardless, what did I say at the time? I said he's young. Okay. I said it even back then. He's young. He's like fucking 19 years old, dude. Of course, a dude that he had like seen, a dude that he had met, a dude that he was trying to debate got fucking clapped. It's an emotional moment. He's probably a little bit traumatized, you know? It was traumatic for a lot of people, myself included. I was very open about it. Even on the day of, I was telling you, like, look, my commentary on this is probably going to be a lot different than what you expect, because like, it's impossible for me not to see this as like myself in the same exact situation. This is a person that I have debated since 2017, right? Make no mistake, I'm not going to fucking defend him at all. I'm not going to defend his positions at all, and I will tackle anyone that tries to fucking claim that Charlie Kirk was actually, you know, doing politics the right way or whatever. But, you know, is a traumatic first response.
That the ceasefire in Israel was fake. I've been proven 100% correct about that, right? You name an issue, I will tell you how the left has been correct too early, and we get dumped on for being correct, and then eventually everybody comes to our position. So now, you know, you're pointing out how Trump is actually Israel first, and he's not U.S. first, right? So now you're pointing out, oh, that's kind of problematic, and he's doing some fucked up shit. Now, it's, we better criticize Israel, and we better get our name on that list of people who criticize Israel. Before it was, deport the immigrants who are criticizing Israel correctly. So this is what we go through. But you know what? It's okay. Because at the end of the day, I will take it that people are moving in the right direction, which is why, by the way, Trump's now at a 35% approval rating, and it's only going to get lower. Inflation's going up, unemployment's going up, the trade war was fucking stupid. He's trying to do regime change in Venezuela. Iran is not done yet. If you think they're done trying to overthrow Iran, you're just wrong. Bombing Yemen, bombing Somalia, threatening Panama, invading U.S. cities with the U.S. military, rounding up innocent people, putting them in concentration camps. I mean, the list goes on and on. The most corrupt regime we've seen ever in U.S. history, and it's not even close, robbing his own supporters, making billions of dollars while in the White House, off of the White House. Like, we've never seen anything like this before, right? And now what's happened now is the rolling thunder thing where they hit you with 10 things a day. All of those things are so bad, and it's all stacking on top of the next thing, like this, to the point where you can't, like, there's no way you can go through a day without hearing something horrific that the regime is doing. And so it's waking people up. You know, sending $40 billion to Argentina while Americans are starving and losing their health care. What the fuck is that? You know, that's something that even a guy like Asmongold's going to look at that and go, really? Really? And so here we are. The rats are escaping the sinking ship. And look, the only thing you have to look out for is until Trump is totally politically gonzo, you will see this back and forth thing. How many times have we seen it with different right-wing figures? How many times have we seen it with Alex?
Yep, absolutely. He's 100% right on this too. Like, until the Trump admin is completely fucking gone, until the Trump administration is like utterly indefensible. He's low Kirk being a Karen here. If you guys want to make a list, I have time. If I have time tomorrow, I can put them all together in a video with links to their employers. Does wait, what's Asmongold's current take on the Charlie Kirk memes? Does he still actually fake get mad at that shit or no? Because I don't know. I don't. This is my dog Kaya.